Welcome to the 12th Horseshoe Podcast alongside Jack Rizzo. I'm Elijah Weintraub, and we are sponsored by Prova, an Italian eatery of Moonachie, New Jersey. Visit their website to learn more and visit them in store in Moonachie, New Jersey at Prova, Italian and Eatery. All right, Jack, how are we doing today? We have 3 preseason games already done and in the books, 3 about to happen within minutes, and a lot more coming up this weekend. How are you doing?
Yeah, doing good, Eli. That was a great introduction to the show. Great job. Yeah, doing good. Finally it's gotten a little cooler here in Northeast New Jersey from the
Blame the wind.
Storm Debbie. That's cooled down the humidity, but pretty bad out there right now. There's actually a tornado watch for our area, so we're doing this in a tornado watch, guys. So it should be fun. But
You will
yeah,
not be
doing good and
in
just
areas where it's impossible to get a tornado. Just want to point that out.
ready for the season to start, though.
Speaking of moving along from tornadoes, obviously the Olympics wrap up this weekend, so that's some exciting news if you're tired of it already. And if you do enjoy it, though, well, enjoy the last couple of moments of the Olympics. All righty, moving right along. Let's get into the football. We had 3 games that happened over the course of a week, and we'll start off with that Hall of Fame game. We'll start off with the Bears, where they took a victory over the Texans on the Hall of Fame game, 21-17. However, that ended in a rain delay in a rain cancellation in the third quarter with 3 minutes left. The rain was pretty bad. Basically, they tried to be like MLB baseball. That was the bottom line. That's how I view it. I mean, they really didn't want to play the rain or want to reschedule. I know it's preseason, but still. All right, but I mean, I can't even give proper notes on the game because technically 21-17 is still anybody's game. I mean, if you look at it, Jack, I mean, I'll let you start off though. I can't give proper notes on that game because in reality, 21-17 was the final, and that could have been a closer score and could have been a lot better. I mean, if it haven't been for that rain delay or cancellation.
I mean, to be honest, for a preseason game, that was pretty entertaining.
It
You don't
was.
really see preseason games be high scoring like that. And who knows how high scoring it could have been if the game were to finish. But overall, some pretty good stuff. I thought both teams honestly looked pretty good offensively. I thought Davis Mills had some strong drives for the Texans. Brett Rippon looked pretty good for the Bears. Colin Johnson, who is Colin Johnson? 2 touchdown catches in that game. One of the preseason superstars. We have these every year, and then you never hear of them again. But it was a good game. Good. The Hall of Fame game is always fun to watch. It's always fun to just have football back. But yeah, it was a fun game.
It was a
Good way to kick off the season. And congrats to all the Hall of Fame inductees who were inducted this past weekend.
And I think you said it best. It was entertaining. And that really was the bottom line. And if it wasn't for the rain, we would have definitely loved to see the ending of that one because it could have been in any direction and hasn't been like the other 2 preseason games that we saw yesterday. And we'll start off with the Giants, who took a victory over the Lions 14-3 the final. That also came down to some injury, which Jack will get into later on. And we also saw a pretty interesting game. It wasn't like their best game for the Giants, nor was for the Lions. However, it ended. And the final score, obviously 14-3. And some good news to report that the new first down AI technology that was supposed to be in place for the preseason did take effect in last night's game. Just stick to the chains at the bottom line. I mean, you knew it was off right away, but still, I think the chain's better, and that's just my opinion. I mean, you got to go old school. You can't go too new style. The Lions did play decent. Obviously, in the defensive side, from the offensive side, they could have racked up more points there. But Jack, can you tell us more about this game and what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, this game was played in the rain. It was going to be pretty sloppy. We all knew that. Yeah, you did mention it, Eli. Drew Lock suffered a pretty bad injury, an oblique strain, and a hip pointer injury. He'll be out for a couple of weeks. Oblique strain is more common baseball injury, but it happened here. Pretty nasty looking one. Drew Lock didn't really play that well on Thursday. I thought Tommy DeVito looked solid. I thought the Giants' run game looked solid. Eric Gray had 2 touchdowns. Go figure. But yeah, it was just one of those typical games. You can't really take too much. Neither team played their starters in this one, so can't really take too much from it. But yeah, overall, it's a pretty entertaining game. But hope Drew Lock can get healthy soon. That's a pretty bad injury to suffer.
The other game that we had to take note of was the Patriots, who took a victory over the Panthers 17-3. And their bad luck begins, already starting off the preseason without a win in their books. And it did not end there, as bad luck continued when they returned home back to Charlotte. Their Delta plane on the taxiway went off. the taxiway, forcing an evacuation. Thankfully, no injuries took place, but the bad luck just continued on, even on a Delta aircraft plane. But Delta did apologize, though. Uh, Interesting nonetheless. Patriots, and the Panthers. Yeah, didn't take long to figure out that they're the same old Panthers from last season. Not much changed.
Yeah, 2 words. Joe Milton. Patriots quarterback who came in, had a crazy scramble late in the game, threw a great touchdown throw. Again, preseason stars, they'll disappear when the season starts. Drake May played in this game, but didn't do anything. There were 3 short passes in typical Patriots fashion. And yeah, the Panthers already look like the Panthers from last season. And it's fitting that their plane went into the mud, off the tarmac and into the mud, because that's where their season's going to be this season too, is in the mud for most
Yeah,
of it. So yeah, but yeah, decent game. Head coaching debut for both teams, and we'll see where it goes from here.
absolutely, indeed. And let's talk about this new kickoff rule. Now that we've gone to the games that have been completed, we'll get to the in progress games and upcoming games in just a little bit. We saw the new kickoff rule take place first in the Hall of Fame game and yesterday twice in both the Giants game and the Patriots and Panthers and Lions, if you count all the teams. To me, how I look at this kickoff rule, I see a lot more injury happening with the kickoff rule. I mean, because you have everybody stuck, frozen. It just feels like you're waiting forever for the ball to drop and for everybody to move until something happens. To me, it's a complicated rule that I even hard to remember the rules. I can't even tell you where the ball goes in the 30, the 20, the 10. I don't remember it like I used to remember how the ball went to the 25. Obviously, I'm going to remember it fully within a couple weeks, but for right now, I can't even tell you what it was compared to last year. And I just looking at it, I'm glad they're running the ball, but I see more injuries happening through this new kickoff rule. And I don't think that's a positive side from the NFL. I mean, it's been light so far because it's preseason, but I think it's just going to get uglier as the season goes on. And the rest of the preseason, we'll definitely see the end result for sure. Jack?
Yeah, I disagree about the injury stuff. I think because the players are closer to where the ball is being fielded, they don't have to run as far. So you won't see as many like hamstring injuries and Achilles injuries. But I will say I do like the kickoff rule though. I just like something new. Pretty much all the kickoffs so far have been returned. The rules are complicated though. There's a ton of them. We've seen them be enforced already. So many pre-motions before the players can even move. And on the Lions game, we actually saw a kick come up short of the landing zone, which puts the ball at the 40. So it's going to take a little bit to get used to this. I think it's taking a little bit of time for the players to get used to this as well. But it's an interesting concept. But, I guess we'll just have to see. Again, it's only a 1-year rule. So if they don't like it, they can change it next year. That's the good thing about it.
Yeah, absolutely, indeed. We'll see how it plays out and changes. But again, this is a new kickoff rule, new changes. Right now is the best test to see it. We all have our views on it. I say injury. Jack's a fan of it. So, like I said, it's all a question and answer. We'll need to decide the NFL will need to decide if it'll work out and how we'll play from the rest of the way. For those watching, don't forget to comment right here on YouTube or Facebook, wherever you're watching. We love to hear your thoughts about the new kickoff rule or the previous games or any of our news topics that we are about to get to soon. Meanwhile, let's get to the games that were happening today. Yeah, the Falcons and Dolphins and Texans Steelers underway right now. And coming up at 7:30, you'll have the Eagles and the Ravens. The Texans Steelers game is on NFL Network. We will keep you updated with score updates if we can get it. I get you any throughout our podcast before it concludes today. For tomorrow's games, you will see the Commanders take on the Jets 12 o'clock. If you're in the New York, New Jersey area, you can watch a CBS 2 New York. Bears, Bills, 1 p.m. NFL Network. Caleb Williams is expected to play. So that is some good news to hear from the Bears. The Raiders will take on the Vikings 4 p.m. on NFL Network tomorrow. Packers, Browns 4:25. Buccaneers, Bengals 7 p.m. Chiefs, Jaguars 7 p.m. NFL Network. 49ers, Titans 7 p.m. Seahawks, Chargers at 7:05 p.m. and Saints, Cardinals 8 p.m. Last 2 games will be on Sunday, both on NFL Network. And that'll be Broncos Colts at 1 p.m. and at Cowboys Rams at 4:30 p.m. Jack, looking at these set of games, what games are you most excited to watch out for, even though it's only preseason? Like, what stands out to you that you want to definitely watch out for and our viewers should definitely look at?
Well, obviously, the one game that everyone's going to circle is that Bears-Bills game because Caleb
Right.
Williams, the number 1 overall draft pick, is going to play. There's a lot of games, though, that I'm looking forward to because it started to become a trendy. Like the starters have started to play more in the preseason. This weekend, we will see Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Joe Burrow all in action, at least
Yes.
for a couple of series this weekend. So that'll be pretty fun to see. Honestly, it's going to be a pretty fun weekend. there'll obviously be most starters probably won't play much, if at all. The running backs probably won't see much time. You want to preserve their bodies for the season. Guys with injuries last year probably won't play, but I feel like the preseason has started to become a little more exciting because I think the starters are starting to get more time, which is important now because there's only 3 preseason games now. There used to be 4. So yeah, I'm excited though for these games, but definitely the one that everyone's looking forward to the most, Bears Bills. And if you're looking for a bit of a sleeper one, I wouldn't Broncos Colts. I know I'm a Colts fan, but both teams are playing their starters. The Broncos QB battle you could see that in
Could be
that game,
potential,
and we're going to
absolutely.
see Anthony Richardson for the first time in almost a year in action. So I think that game's pretty intriguing as well, and I'm glad that one's on NFL Network.
And I think you also brought up a good point, Jack. And again, it is new starters are playing, and it's gonna become high scoring. We saw that last week in the Hall of Fame game. Well, we see it now. Yesterday's was an exclusion day because they both played horrible, both teams, all 4 teams. But today, tomorrow, and Sunday, we will know for sure who plays the best. How are we gonna look at the scoring point wise, and who was the right decisions made?
And by
Before we
the
get,
way, I'm sorry, Eli. I just want to say something real quick if you don't mind.
yeah,
If anyone is in here watching, make sure you comment down below. We love to interact with you guys. We love to read your comments. So make sure you drop in the comments, get involved with us, and we'll read your comments and we'll have discussion. Go ahead, Eli. Go to your next
all
point.
right, before we get to the latest NFL news, let's get into our Jack's injury report. Take it away, Jack.
All right, so unfortunately, there has been a lot of injuries this training camp. It's really unfortunate. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'll go through the important ones. A couple of quarterbacks that are injured. Justin Herbert has a foot injury. He's expected to be back for the start of the season, but we'll see. Geno Smith, Eli, dealing with a hip injury out in Seattle. That's a bit of
Yes,
concerning news there for the Seahawks. Russell Wilson still hasn't practiced yet in camp, dealing with a calf injury. And then you have some other very important players dealing with injuries. Christian McCaffrey, probably the consensus #1 overall pick in fantasy this year, dealing with a calf injury. Sam Laporta, a hamstring. Puka Nacua, the breakout star last year, dealing with a knee. Joe Mixon, a hamstring. Josh Jacobs, dealing with a groin. Jaden Reed, the receiver for the Green Bay Packers, a calf. DeAndre Hopkins might miss the start of the season with a knee injury. Josh Downs, the receiver for the Colts, just went down the other day with a high ankle sprain, also might miss the start of the season. Rondale Moore, season ended yesterday or 2 days ago, with a brutal knee injury during a joint practice. There's some other injuries here to mention, Eli, but I think those are the important ones, though, I think, that we know of
absolutely.
for now. So that's the latest injury report. Let's just pray that there's no more injuries the rest of this preseason. I already mentioned the Drew Lock one, so
Yeah, so Drew Lock and Geno Smith are the top 2 ones that stand out to me because they're top QBs that could be beneficial to the teams. Geno Smith in particular, because of Seattle, he's their only life and savior, and I'm a Seattle fan. And also, Drew Lock, he could have been potentially your next starter for the Giants. So you got to watch out there, and hopefully all goes. Obviously, no surgery needed for Drew Lock, but again, those are to me 2 of the top standouts in terms of the quarterback side that we the fans have to look out for. Let's get to the latest NFL news now. We'll start off with Super Bowl winning quarterback Nick Foles announces his retirement from the league. He becomes the only other QB besides Eli Manning to say the words, "I beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl," and that was Super Bowl 52 to be exact. Congratulations on a well done career. Jack, any thoughts on Nick Foles?
I mean, Colts legend, finished his career at the Colts, helped us with our tank job. But yeah, I mean, that was incredible. The fact that he beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl as a backup, comes in at the end of the season. But yeah, Nick Foles had a great career. He'll always have that Super Bowl. And fun fact about that, his backup in that Super Bowl, Nate Sudfeld, played for the Lions last night in their preseason game. So there's a little fun fact for you.
All right, there you go. Well, let's get into the quarterback situation and the contract extension.
Yes.
On our last show, we were talking about what's the holdup, what's going on with Tua and Jordan Love to be exact. We finally got to crunch the numbers just a day after the show taped and aired. And we now know that Jordan Love becomes the highest paid quarterback in NFL history, earning a 4-year, $220 million contract deal, while Tua Tagovailoa becomes the second highest paid quarterback and highest paid Dolphin in history, earning a 4-year, $212 million deal. And that is obviously becoming right after Burrow, who was obviously the first highest paid at the time with $55 million. And we saw that what happened. There was an injury that took place. So to me, with Jordan Love, I feel like hopefully not, an injury is bound to happen or bad luck is about to curse on the Green Bay Packers. So to become the highest paid is not the good thing. And what really annoys me, bothers me a lot the most is he played 17 games, and the fact he's becoming the highest paid quarterback is mind blowing. Well, basically, I mean, anybody can do at that point. If you're telling me that 17 games is all it takes for you to become the highest paid quarterback, that's a little ridiculous. That's telling me if you're coming straight out of high school, you should become the highest paid college football player. Then, if that's basically what I'm getting out of here with this contract deal, that was a little ridiculous what the Green Bay Packers did. He played 17 games, and now he's the highest paid. And I see bad luck and injury coming up for Tua Tagovailoa. I think it's a good contract extension. Not the highest paid, good amount of money. Can't complain about it. And I believe if it wasn't for KC in their division and their playoff run, I think that they would be the top guy. The Miami Dolphins would be the top team to watch out for. I mean, this is a little high, but I think it was just right. And I think we could see a whole new Miami Dolphins go far. And that starts by winning the division. Jack?
Yeah, it's interesting with these new contracts. Jordan Love, I know everyone's gonna say, oh, he only played one season last year, but the way he played last season was fantastic. Even in the beginning of the season when the Packers weren't really winning games, he just looked so comfortable in the pocket. He does remind me of Aaron Rodgers, which is funny because he was Aaron Rodgers' understudy for 3 seasons there in Green Bay. And the Packers are so well at transferring with these quarterbacks. I mean, Aaron Rodgers came right in for a retired Brett Favre and did his thing. Won a Super Bowl in his 3rd season as a starter. So I think Jordan Love's going to be just fine. I think this contract is fine. I like what I saw from Jordan Love last year. And keep in mind, that was only for a half a season that we saw what the Packers could live up to. They had a great free agency bringing in Josh Jacobs and Xavier McKinney. They're going to have a good season. They could be contenders in the NFC. And as for the Dolphins, I'm not really as high. I'm not really a big fan of Tua. Sorry, Dolphins fans, if you're watching this, but I feel like he holds this offense back at sometimes. His concussion injury history is very concerning as well. So I think it's a little interesting. I honestly think that I feel like Miami could have gotten a better quarterback in free agency. I don't think they should have paid to it. I think they should have had this be like a make or break year for him. But
Yeah.
I guess we'll see, Eli. I like the Jordan Love contract. The Tua contract is a little okay, but I wouldn't say either is a bad contract because that's just the way the quarterback market is these days.
Well, I mean, I just don't like that Jordan Love, it only took him 17 games to become the highest paid. Because what does that tell you? That means if I come straight out of college and play for the NFL, it will only take me 17 games in one season for me to earn the highest contract paid. That's a little, crazy too, Jack. I mean, I get your underpoint and stuff, but to me, that you only played one full season and that you become the highest paid is a little too much. If I say a little lower than that, I say,
That's
okay,
fair.
fair deal. But you're telling me that he's worth highest paid after that one season, even though he did nothing for you guys. He did not win you a Super Bowl.
It's a fair point.
The best game that he had was beating Dallas in the playoffs. And was that even an accomplishment? No.
I mean,
It's Dallas in the playoffs.
it's a fair point, Eli, but at the same time, Deshaun Watson became the highest paid quarterback in the league after missing a full season as a starter. So there could certainly be worse circumstances. But I think Jordan Love is going to work out too. I think might work out. I think it has a better chance of working out than not, but we'll just have to see how this plays out, Eli. We've got our season preview show coming up. We can talk a little bit more about that.
We'll get to that. I'll announce those information stuff at the end of our show. But
Yep.
let's get into something that we have not seen happen yet. Brandon Ayuk, we don't know if he's staying with San Francisco or if he's going to be traded to another team. So that brings up the question, what is our pick? What is our decision? Is Brandon Ayuk staying with the San Francisco 49ers or is he going to be traded out to another team? And if so, where? Jack, I'll let you start off first. Do you think Brandon Ayuk stays or does he go?
It's tough, Eli. It just seems like he's so unhappy there in San Francisco. But apparently according to a report today from NFL Network and from some other people, apparently the 49ers and Brandon Ayuk have restarted contract negotiations potentially. It's tough, Eli, but honestly, at this point, I think it's been too long. I honestly think at this point he's going to stay. I honestly, Eli, I have no clue what's going to happen. This is just a total guess. I have no familiarity with the situation, but this is it's so annoying that we've been hearing about this all off season. I just wish we'd have a resolution to this. But hey, whoever Brandon Ayuk plays for next season, whether it's the Steelers, the 49ers, whoever he plays for, he's a top 10 receiver in the league, in my opinion, and he's going to make a big impact for that team. That's really the bottom line. But hopefully this gets resolved soon. This is like Aaron Rodgers last offseason. When is it going to get done?
Absolutely. And for me, how I view it, I think he's going to stay with San Francisco.
So we agree. Okay.
I think I have to agree. It's at this point, it's too late in the game. San Francisco works. He works great in San Francisco. He's got the weapons needed. He's got a great quarterback. I don't think he is good anywhere else. He needs to stay in San Francisco. Bottom line. All right. Other news that's happening: the Lions and Giants have been fined more than $200,000 after multiple fights during a joint practice at training camp. So that was a few days ago before the first preseason game. So they've been fined a lot of money. Meanwhile, a federal judge has overturned the NFL's Sunday ticket lawsuit, which means, sorry, fans, you won't be getting any money back.
I mean, to be fair, we wouldn't have
next time.
We would have gotten like $4 if we even got money back. So it's really not much of a difference if we're being totally honest here.
Better luck next time. Meanwhile, the NFL now requires all head coaches to do in-game interviews beginning this season once in the first and second halves. Next, Texas defensive end Danico Autry has been suspended for 6 games after violating the enhancing drugs policy. So that is a big no-no for the Texans right there. Last week, Patriots defensive tackle Christian Barmore was diagnosed with blood clots. No return date has been announced for him, and we hope that he has a speedy recovery.
Yeah, it's a big loss for them. He's one of their best players on the team and certainly one of the leaders of that defense. It's a really unfortunate loss for New England. Hope he has a fast recovery.
Absolutely. Meanwhile, the Patriots released wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster today. That was announced earlier. And the Seahawks running back Rashad Penny is retiring from the NFL. Which was a big one there. And Seahawks signed center corner Connor Williams, and Chiefs extend kicker Harrison Butker's contract to a 4-year, $25.6 million deal. Now becomes the highest paid kicker. I could see why you could say maybe the curse impacts a kicker, but I only believe in the quarterback situation. I think it's a good contract for Harrison Butker, and I like that he got paid the right amount of money. He's a very good kicker, and you could say Patrick Mahomes led the Kansas City Chiefs to so many Super Bowls, but it also has to do with the kicker. He had a big impact, and that was Harrison Butker. So congratulations on a well-deserved contract. Jack, any thoughts on the contract?
Yeah, well, you that's a great point. You mentioned the Super Bowl, kicked the game winner in Super Bowl against the Eagles, game tying field goal against the 49ers at the end of the fourth quarter. Kickers are important, man. I don't think enough people realize it. Special teams is so undervalued, and it's a good contract, Eli. I mean, I don't even think it's like a lot of money for a kicker. Kickers are really important.
Absolutely. This is like perfect.
Yeah, I have no issues with the contract. I'm okay with
no
that.
issues. All I can say is good for you. That's all I could say.
Yeah.
Titans signed safety Quandre Diggs to a 1-year deal. We'll see if that helps.
Former Seahawk, Eli.
Former Seahawk, that's right.
Yep.
Lions
reunited with Jamal Adams, also former
right.
Seahawk.
We'll see how that duo works out. I don't know if it will. I don't think it's going to last too long.
I don't think so either.
Well, it's also the Titans too. All right. Well, meanwhile, the Lions linebacker Taylor Decker has agreed on a 3-year, $60 million extension.
No, Eli, I think that's he's a tackle. He's not a linebacker, so I think that's
that's a typo there.
Yeah. Okay.
My apologies.
Just want to make sure. No
typo on the notes.
Issue.
All right.
I was just wondering. I was confused.
Bears wide receiver DJ Moore has agreed on a 4-year, $110 million deal. So that also happened. Yeah. Well,
that's Ryan Poles is quite the offseason, paying his star players, bringing in free agents, drafting Kilblade. It's been quite the offseason for the Chicago Bears, that's for sure.
And finally, the Bengals announced that they will wear their all-white uniforms and helmets in Week 8 versus the Eagles.
I love those uniforms.
For the NFL news, Jack, do you have any notes before I get to some closing thoughts before the closing?
No, go ahead. Go ahead with your closing thoughts.
All right. Well, so we have some exciting news. Obviously, we're inching closer to the start of the official regular season in the NFL, and we got some exciting news for you. We have our standings, our preview show for both the AFC and the NFC. Now, unlike last year, where it's just going to be the two of us, and in only one show, we're going to be splitting up to 2 shows, and we're going to be working on trying to get 2 guests per show, and we're going to be all debating and talking about the AFC, the NFC, the standings, the record, who's going to fail, who's going to succeed, and additional thoughts along the way. Those dates to keep in mind of: August 27th will be the AFC show, and on the August 30th will be the NFC show. And after we do all the standings and picks, for each show. We'll let our guests go, and Jack and I will give our awards predictions on the AFC show the 27th, and on the 30th, we'll give our bracket predictions and Super Bowl winners. So stay tuned for that. That is happening August 27th for the AFC and August 30th for the NFC. And we begin our high school football broadcast debut on the 29th for the new year. So stay tuned for that. We have a busy week in the finale week of August. So stay tuned for that.
That's for sure.
This is an exciting lineup, Jack, and we cannot
It's gonna be
wait
crazy.
to contact all these guests after the show. And yeah, I think, that's all. I mean, I cannot wait to start picking and to say hello to people and to have a great battle debate right here on the 12th Horseshoe podcast. And of course, we will have guest pickers for the pick shows happening throughout the week. So we cannot wait. And any additional thoughts, Jack, on it?
That is it, Eli. I think we covered everything that's in the NFL. Preseason games going on right now. Texans, Steelers. I have it on right here. Both teams are playing their starters, but it's been a defensive slugfest so far. So
any score updates?
No score in that game, and the other two games aren't on TV here. So
okay, so let me I'll Google before we sign off here. The other
I have it right here. Give me one second.
No score. No score.
Oh, actually, wait. I just jinxed that. The Texans just scored. Tank Dell just scored like almost 50-yard touchdown for the Houston Texans. That might be a common occurrence this season. So fantasy owners take notice. Stroud to Dell, almost 50 yards.
And for everybody else, I think Jack's got some good insight for your fantasy team. So if you need information, go to Jack for sure. He's great with fantasy. And that will wrap up this edition of the 12th Horseshoe Podcast, sponsored by Provo, an Italian eatery in Moonachie, New Jersey. From Jack Rizzo, Elijah Weintraub, go Seahawks, and go Devils.
Go Colts.
Good night.